Top 10 clutches of all time, let's go. Number 10, Robert Downey Jr. From 1996 through 2001, Downey was arrested several times on charges related to drugs, including C, H, and marijuana. Notably, he was arrested for driving naked off drugs down Sunset Boulevard with his .357 Magnum in his car. A month later, while on parole, he wandered into a neighbor's home through the unlocked front door, off drugs, and fell asleep in one of the 11-year-old kids' beds. By this time, he was homeless, too much of a liability to be employed, on the verge of bankruptcy, and horribly addicted to drugs. But we know his story doesn't end here. He got clean, for real this time. He picked up meditation, martial arts, and met his wife. In comes Marvel, a broke movie studio who wanted to make an Iron Man movie. Everyone said no to Downey. Too risky, too unstable. But director Jon Favreau saw the parallel. Tony Stark was Robert Downey Jr., a flawed genius with demons. In Marvel, they took that gamble. And as we all know, Iron Man exploded, the MCU was born, and Robert Downey Jr. went from Hollywood's exile to one of the biggest stars. He didn't just revive his career, he helped build a $29 billion cinematic empire. But more than that, he became a symbol of what happens when you don't give up, when you face your demons and fight your way back. Number 9, Washington crossing the Delaware. Christmas night, December 25th, 1776. The situation. The Continental Army had been getting destroyed. Washington had just lost New York, and morale was at rock bottom. Soldiers were starving, sick, unpaid, and enlistments were expiring in days. By Christmas 1776, the American Revolution was basically over. But instead of quitting, George Washington made a desperate play. In the middle of the night, during a snowstorm, he led 2,400 men across the icy Delaware River. It was freezing. Boats got stuck. Some soldiers had to march barefoot through snow, leaving blood in the ice. Other commanders, they gave up, but Washington, he pushed forward. At dawn, they hit a camp at Trenton of German mercenaries hired by the British. Total surprise. Nearly 1,000 enemy troops were captured, and not a single American died in combat. Washington's clutch turned everything around. It saved morale, it kept the revolution alive, and for the first time, people believed they could actually win. This wasn't just a battle, it was a statement. And thanks to George Washington stepping up on the Delaware, we get Big Macs and credit card debt. Number 8, Fnatic vs Loud, VCT Sao Paulo. $500,000 tournament, global grand final. 32 partner teams, 1 winner. Fnatic go ahead and win 5 flawless games in a row against the best teams in the world without dropping a single map, walking them like dogs. Moving on to the grand finals. Their opponent, Loud from Brazil, with Aspes probably the GOAT of Valorant. It's a best of 5, and Fnatic, they're leading 2-0. It looks like Fnatic's gonna have the perfect tournament run, not dropping a single map. This game has never seen such a dominant showing. Map 3, Fnatic gets swept. All good, on to the next. Map 4, Lotus. Fnatic gets swept again. All good, on to the last map. Maybe not a perfect run, but no team has ever been reverse swept in a grand finals. Map 5, Icebox. Fnatic go down 9-3 at half. Okay, it's looking shaky. If we get the next pistol round, we'll still be in this. Absolutely mopped on pistol. We have to force up on anti-eco, we get wiped again. Aspes, he looks like he's accidentally queued into a bronze lobby and we take a timeout. Boaster looks like he's seen it all. And Fnatic can't even win a single round. This is a biblical level of crumbling under the pressure, and all hope seems lost. But we all know this is a greatest clutches video, so Fnatic from the brink of defeat string together 9 rounds, putting the game into OT and winning it from there. 10 out of 10 cinema, one of the best viewing experiences I've ever had. Number 7, 2003 World Series of Poker. Meet Chris Moneymaker, a 27-year-old accountant from Tennessee. Instead of paying $10,000 to enter the main event, with $39 he wins an online tournament to qualify. Playing out of his living room with no live experience, no sponsorships, just raw nerve and math from his accounting job. Even the name felt fake, Moneymaker. After the first tournament, the winning doesn't stop. Up until the final table, he's sitting alongside poker goats with millions of dollars earned. Holding pocket 8s head to head against Brennis' pocket aces, flop comes 9-2 king with 2 diamonds. Brennis jams all in with the best possible pre-flop hand. Moneymaker, he makes the call, with odds unbelievably out of his favor. Turn comes an 8. Moneymaker hits a set and sends Brennis home. Against Phil Ivey, probably regarded as one of the greatest poker players of all time, Ivey's holding a full house on the turn, and there's only one card in the deck that can save Moneymaker's run. River, it's an ace. Moneymaker hits queens full of aces, sending Ivey home. In the final head-to-head, millions on the line, cameras rolling, Moneymaker shoves all in with 2 pair. Farha calls, and it's over. Chris Moneymaker wins the 2003 World Series of Poker main event, $2.5 million. A nobody had just beaten the best. Number 6, Steve Jobs returning to Apple. April 1st, 1976, Jobs and his 2 friends found Apple Computer Company. Jobs picking the name Apple partly because he had worked on an apple orchard. December 12th, 1980, Apple goes public. It was one of the largest IPOs at the time, creating more than 300 millionaires overnight, including Jobs, who became worth over 200 million at age 25. But by 1985, sales of the Mac were disappointing, and the company's other projects, Lisa and Apple III, had massively underperformed. Jobs clashed with then CEO John Sculley. Jobs wanted to reassert control and engineered a boardroom coup to oust Sculley. Sculley found out and confronted Jobs. The board, they didn't side with Jobs. Jobs was stripped of all operational roles and authority. He resigned soon after and sold all but 1 share of his Apple stock out of spite. From founder and CEO to owning 1 share of his company. By mid-1997, Apple was bleeding cash and in serious trouble. In 1996, Apple lost $816 million. In the first quarter of 1997, it lost another $708 million. Apple, at this time, had only 90 days of cash left, and the company was on the verge of bankruptcy. While all this is going on, Jobs decides to go on a few side quests, involving founding a company next, a software company. In 1996, Apple was looking for a new operating system, and they chose Next and acquired it for $429 million. This brought back Jobs into Apple. Brought back into his own company on the verge of bankruptcy, Jobs locks in. He strikes a deal with Microsoft of a $150 million investment to keep the company out of bankruptcy. In 2001, he releases iTunes and iPod, revolutionizing digital music. In 2007, iPhone changes the world. Apple becomes a consumer tech giant. And today, Apple sits at a market cap of nearly $3 trillion, making it one of the most valuable companies on earth. And Apple is a money printing machine due to its iPhone and service ecosystem. AirPods alone, if it was a company, would be bigger than Nike. Jobs was brought back on the verge of bankruptcy to create the largest tech company the world has ever seen. In 2007, iPhone changes the world. In 2007, iPhone changes the world.